today is the first day we come back, and I remember last time I was talking on the 9 stages of development of samadhi. So maybe before I talk on Siddhigarbha Sutra, maybe I should finish the 9 stages of samadhi first. Samadhi in Thailand, in the Hinayana school, of course we are practicing the Mahayana school. In the Hinayana school in Thailand, they call it Nang Samadhi, Nang Samadhi. Nang Samadhi, that means sitting meditation. So this 9 stages of development of samadhi is also practiced by the Hinayana school, the Theravada school. So it is sort of common in meditation. We have been practicing Anapanasati, but now we can tie all this together, and we call it maybe a body of knowledge of how actually to develop your mind, training your mind into achieving samadhi. Of course, first time comers, you don't even know what samadhi is. You need to study it, you need to know about it. Buddhism is not, the Buddhist teaching is not idolizing a God. It's not just a one-sided faith. Buddhism is the teaching about your own mind, training of your mental development. It's about training your mind. It's not about idolizing a God and believe in a one-sided salvation from Him. It's you have to work it out. You have to walk your own path. It's more of a self-reliance rather than other reliance. So, just a few words before we start for the newcomers, because if you're coming for the first time, you think that Buddhism is about getting blessings from Buddha and kneeling down and prostration and faith. That's not it. Maybe you have misunderstood it. That's not it. It's about yourself. Studying yourself, studying about yourself in relationship to others, in relationship to the society, and a lot in it. There's a lot in it. It takes years to explain it. We've already done it for 9 years in here, right? Right. And we've just started. We've done 9 years and we've just started. This is a summary about the 9 stages. If you count mental placement, that's the first one. The second, continuous placement, patch placement. The third, close placement, taming, pacification, complete pacification, one-pointed attention, balanced placement. Now, these are the 9 stages of development of your mind, training your mind. Are these important? They are absolutely important. Are you interested in training your mind? Are you interested in knowing your mind, first of all? You have to know your mind. You have to know yourself. Some people say, of course I know my mind. It's my mind, not your mind. I may not know your mind, but I certainly know my mind. That's usually not the case, as I always mention. If you know your own mind, how come you get mad? How come you can't control yourself? How come you commit a lot of unvirtuous deeds? How come you are jealous? How come you have hatred? How come you're greedy? How come you are depressed? Do you want those things? Of course you don't. Where do those things come from? Depression, anxiety, fear, appointment, jealousy, hatred, greediness. Where do those, we call them mental afflictions, where do they come from? Do they come from outside? They come from you, come from your own mind. Being affected, of course, by the outside. You attach to enviros. You attach to the outside. And, maybe we'll expand on that as we go along. Let's concentrate just on these words first. And when it comes to explaining the mind, explaining about anxiety, fear, mental afflictions, we tackle them bit by bit. But it is absolutely important that you must be interested in knowing yourself. Okay, let's first get to the first one. On this side of the summary, those are the 9 stages. On this side, we got 6 powers. We study them hand by hand. Because of these powers that you've got, or you're going to nurture, it helps this side. The left-hand side helps the right-hand side in this summary. They go hand in hand. First of all, follow the personal instructions that you have heard and correctly apply the method for focusing on the object of attention. That's the first sentence. So that's what we call, with your power of listening, your power of hearing. We've got the power of hearing, the power of listening, and also the power of analysis, the power of investigation, the power of understanding. You may not know that you have that power, but you really do. Do you appreciate that power, or you misused it? Assuming that you haven't misused it, you use it in the right way. The power of listening. There's power in listening that can help you. The power of listening can also harm you. You listen to somebody's flattery. You listen to somebody scouting, yelling at you, cursing you. You immediately get infuriation. You're mad. You don't like it. You strike up a hatred in your mind. So it's the same power, but if you don't use it properly, you use it in the wrong way. Fire could be your good servant, could be your bad master. Depends on how you use it. So when it comes to meditation, we say, how do we do it? How do we do, what's the objective of meditation? We should always repeat that. Meditation is to know your mind. And why do I have to know my mind? Because it's through the mind, through the senses, through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the taste, the touch. Through all these senses that we interact with the outside world. Our eyes interact with sight, our ears interact with sound, our nose interact with fragrance, our tongue interact with taste, our body interacts with tactile objects, touch, all these senses. And when they interact with the outside world, they're attached to the outside world. Attached to sight, to sound, to taste, to touch. And as a result of that, mental afflictions occur. Greediness, sensuality, you name it. A lot of things arise because of your interaction of your senses to the outside world. And in this interaction, we perform, we behave, we speak. And in the process, we create karma. K-A-R-M-A, karma. Sometimes bad karma. If you curse the people, if you lie, if you kill, if you steal, if you commit sexual misconduct, if you steal, you name them. If you don't know enough of these, flip to the newspapers of today and try to analyze how many of these arise from mental afflictions. How come people do all these bad deeds? How come there's international strifes and struggles? How come there's all kinds of inequities in the societies? How come there's broken homes, drunken drivers, broken marriages, You name them. All these things arise from interactions. What helps the interaction is the mind. Bad karma is created, and then together with this bad karma, we reincarnate. After this life ends, we reincarnate in the next life with our bad karma or good karma. And we keep on doing that all the time, lives after lives and after lives. We're sentient beings. That's what we're doing. And we are in suffering. We're in a lot of suffering. No one can escape these sufferings. This is a world of suffering that is temporary happiness, of course. But ultimately, it's a world of suffering. How can you be happy if you're always confronted with death, with sickness, with aging, and all these other sufferings? How come you say, I'm happy all the time, or I pretend to be happy? You can pretend to be happy. Pretend you're happy when you're blue. There's a song sung by Nat King Cole, right? I still remember. You can pretend, but this world is a world of suffering. Your attitude, you don't hate suffering, but you have to resolve the issue of suffering. You don't necessarily have to hate it. No hatred. It does not matter whether you hate suffering or not. Suffering is still there. But you got to have the attitude of understanding, trying to liberate yourself from sufferings. That's what the Buddha did. The Buddha liberated himself completely from suffering. And he wanted to introduce this method of liberation to you. Do you want to listen? Or you say you don't care? Okay, then you continue to suffer. So, how do we create this karma? It's because of the mind that worked out this bad karma. Not your husband, not your wife, not your children that gave you all these mental afflictions. You yourself, because you couldn't let go of all these things. So why do we look internally to say we want to understand ourselves, we want to do mental training so that we understand our mind better, so that we don't create any bad karma. And instead we only create good karma. Just doing that will help the society, help the family, help your work. Think about this. If you're at a workplace, you create only good karma. In a family, you create only good karma. In a society, you only create good karma. The whole world is going to be more peaceful. Because good karma means you're not going to kill, you're not going to steal, you're not going to lie, you're not going to commit sexual misconduct, you're not greedy, you're not jealous, you don't have hatred, you have compassion. You're compassionate, and so on. Okay, that's sufficient to understand why we have to look at our mind. That's the source. That's the objective of meditation. That's how important it is. Spiritually, socially, physically, and metaphysically. And some people may say, oh, this is only a spiritual concept. Yeah, spiritually, we're going to look at the mind. But it's not just spiritual. When you're back out there in the world, you've got to have a good mind. A mind that is healthy. A mind that is strong. A mind that has virtuous will. A mind that has compassion. A mind that is helpful. A mind that is responsible. Do you like to have that mind? This is the place for training that. Actually, the whole world should fit into this room and learn about it. But how many people are interested? Only you, being the intelligent ones, you find a place. Not just in this, in many other places that train the mind. Should start with the youngsters. If youngsters should know how to train their own mind, they're going to be good citizens. But where do they put their mind now? Where did they put the youngsters? Where did they put their mind? Going partying, playing computer games, watching televisions. What else? You are the parents. You should know. You should know what's good for them. All right, getting back to this. How do we meditate? What is the first stage of the 9 stages of training the mind? First stage is mental placement. What does that mean? Where do you place your mind when you're meditating? How to start? You got to put your mind somewhere. How do we place it? Mental placement, we call it. This is a preliminary stage of the practitioners of samatha. Because in meditation, it's in 2 parts, samatha and vipassana. Well, this is the preliminary stage of practitioners of samatha. Our sensory organs are used to interact with outside objects. As I said, eyes interact with sight, ears with sound, nose with smell, tongue with taste, and body with tactile objects. And all kinds of thoughts arise in the process of interaction, leading to mental afflictions of attachment, hostility, and ignorance. As a result, feelings of anger, enmity, jealousy, arrogance, doubt, obstinacy, pride, inferiority complex, superiority complex, you name them. The occurrence of all these thoughts would finalize into actions and speech, which would bring out bad karma, as I said. Meditation is to control our thoughts and direct them to the right path, the path of enlightenment. So what do you do? How do you place your mind? This meditation stage entails thoroughly in withdrawing your attention from all outside objects and direct inward to the object of meditation. In other words, all these senses interact with the outside world. Now you're sitting in here, you don't want to interact with the outside world. You want to interact because in the outside world, what are the objects of attention? Multiplicity of objects of attention. Here comes a guy, he's a handsome guy. Here comes a lady, it's an ugly lady. Here comes a fat man, a poor man, a healthy man. All kinds of objects of attention. Oh, I listen to some music, bad music, good music, some cursing, some flattery, good food, bad food. We live in a world of duality. We live in a world of dichotomy. We live in a world of contrast. You put contrast to it. You stereotype it. And now, we don't want those objects now. We just want to simplify our object. So we want to direct our mind inward to an object of meditation that we create for ourselves. What are these objects? As Lee mentioned, our object now is the breath. There's so many objects. Some people meditate on a candle flame. Some people on a pond of tranquil and pure water. Some people meditate on the belly button, the space underneath the belly button, the ocean of breath, we call it, on the chakras. Oh, you name them. So many objects of meditation that you can create to place your mind in. And we adopt the Buddha's method that he always told us, anapanasati, on the breath. You can do it on the flame, but we do it on the breath. Why? Why do we choose the breath? What's the most important to your body? Food? Water? Oxygen? It's the breath. If your breath stops, that's the final curtain for you. No more. So, what is the most important, the most crucial to you is the breath. You've got to value it. You can't just take it for granted you're breathing. One day you don't breathe anymore, you're dead. We're dead when we don't breathe anymore. So why do we have to attach to all these things? No breath, no more attachment. So, taking the breath as an object of attention has a lot of psychology and philosophy in it. Why don't you make that? Why don't you write a paper about it? Why don't you think about it? why did the Buddha tell us to use breath as the object of attention in the training of the 9 stages of the mental development of samadhi? You'll come up with a lot of good answers yourself. Give you a hint. This is the closest to your body. This is not just the closest to your body. This is in you, the body. This is you. It seems to be not you, it's just the breath, but it is you. It is two, it is also one. 2 in 1. The oneness of it. The oneness of the breath and the body. The oneness of the physical and the mental. So it's simple. The first one, mental placement. What do you place your mind to? We don't have to research in a lot of sutras to find out that. Where do you place your mind? You place your mind in a simple object. You simplify all these billions of objects. How many objects we got? One molecule is an object. One atom is an object. A lamp, a light, you. Everything is an object. But too complicated. When you're meditating in here, we want to simplify it. We want to simplify into just one. That's the breath, in and out. We can also feel it, in and out. How peaceful it is. Imagine our mind is interwoven with all this, like a spider web of things. And we look at them, we got perplexed by it. Now, how happy you are. None of these spider webs anymore. Just one breath. Simplicity of the breath. Simple. Then what's the next mental development? Next is continuous placement. Then repeatedly reflect on the way of setting your attention, and as you're able to bring together a little continuity, sustain a continuous stream of attention. Continuous placement. Yes, you place your mind in the object of attention, on the breath. Is it continuous though? Or is it broken? Remember, our mind is like a monkeying mind. It's non-stop. It is not under your control so far. It's jumping from one branch to the other, one thought to the other. I'm meditating in here, and I have an object of meditation, my breath. And I'm meditating, and all of a sudden I remember yesterday Peter told me something I dislike. And that dislike statement comes back to my mind, and I hate it. I cannot meditate because of that, because I reflect to the past and I don't like that idea that Peter suggested to me. It disturbs you. Your thought goes away. Your thought is not placed in that object of the breath anymore. You've gone. The monkey has hopped from one branch to the other. And then, oh no, I shouldn't be thinking of that. Let me come back to this breath. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. That's what Lee said. The breath, concentrate on the breath. So I continue to meditate. Oh, I feel hungry. So what do? Oh yeah, lunch is at 11. Your thought goes away. Oh no, I should be meditating on my breath. In and out. And the next minute, my throat is itchy. How come? I'm going to cough. It's embarrassing to cough in front of everybody. Your thought all goes away. You're not under your own control. You're not continuous. Oh no, I got to force myself. No, I don't want to think about all this. Oh gee, the banker is going to call me tomorrow for the mortgage. I'm at default. I shouldn't have made that investment in Alberta. I should have sold it. Now I can't sell it. It's a down market. Shoot. So what are you doing? Are you placing that continuously in that object of attention, your breath? You are not. It sounds so simple. But we've been so habituated to thinking like that. We're thinking like a monkey. It's out of our control. And more I realize that time is not under our control too. I plan to finish it today, but I've only covered only 1.5. So maybe I'll continue the next time. So what you need to do is, you have learned the first step is the mental placement. You got to place your mind into an object of attention, and you must simplify that object into just one object, not multiplicity of objects, and you got to be continuously at that object. It sounds so simple, so easy to do, but it's absolutely difficult to do. Why? Because habitually, our companion is that monkey. And that monkey has been your companion for many lives. He got you into trouble. He got you into bad karma. He got you into what you're suffering today. You think you suffer for no good reason? You must have cultivated the cause to end up in the suffering that you've got now. Cause and effect, causality. Causality is what the Buddha told us all the time. You got to watch the cause. Whatever you suffer now, you think God gave it to you? Or your husband gave it to you? You have a broken marriage? No. You created your own destiny. You have done that. You don't know about it. You blame everybody except yourself. Now this is time to reflect. This is the time to know yourself.